Hey YouTube, it's Tams the Wicked Witch. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you to all my new subscribers, and if you haven't subscribed, please do. Please hit the thumbs up and the notification bell and all that good stuff. So as you can tell by the title, we're going to have a little bit of a video today about the wonderful magical Sabbath of Samhain. Of course, it's spelt Samhain, in case you're wondering what I'm talking about. Yes, so it's my favourite Sabbath. I absolutely love Samhain. And of course Halloween as well. So it's like a double whammy, isn't it, for us witches, because we get to have both. So I'm going to go over a little bit about some of the things that we can do, and and what we can celebrate at this time, and things that we can get involved with and do. And also a little bit of folklore I'll throw in as well. I did do a video the other day about Halloween folklore, so I'm going to do a little bit of that. And yeah, try and wrap it up under 15 minutes, because you know I won't be able to download it otherwise. Yeah, so let's get into it. You'll have to put up with me looking down because I have a lot of notes. So obviously Samhain, October 31st. It's Gaelic, yeah? It's a Gaelic festival, and it's the start of winter, okay? So basically it means summer's end. It's the start of winter. The Celts would celebrate and have fires, and the harvest would have been, everything would have been harvested in, and the animals would have been slaughtered, and basically it's the start of winter. And of course, all those years and years and years ago, people lived season to season. Everything was so important for them. They couldn't just pop to Tesco's or to the local supermarket and buy food. They basically grew it and reared it and killed it, ate it and picked it. And if there wasn't any food, they died. So everything was season to season. So it was such a hard time back then. But if they honoured the goddess and god, I'm sure there would have been some kind of slaughter of a goat or something like that on October 31st. And yeah, it was a time for new beginnings. As the winter, as winter starts, there would be new beginnings, and that is why it's called the Witches' New Year. October 31st for witches and pagans, neo-pagans, Wiccans. It's the New Year's Eve. Yeah, it's the Celtic New Year. So we celebrate New Year, new beginnings, new starts. Samhain is followed in many traditions of witchcraft and in paganism. So also some pagans actually don't follow the kind of the traditional and the new traditional ways, and there's lots of different things, but the majority of things you'll see and you'll read kind of all interpret that we honour the ancestors, we honour the people past, we honour our dead, whether it's pets or family members. We honour our ancestors, whether they are actually our ancestors or our witchy ancestors. We honour the goddesses and gods, the dark goddesses and gods. Goddesses and gods associated with Samhain, the Morrigan, the Dagda. Dagda, of course, the old gods of Ireland, the Tuatha Dé Danann. The story goes that Morrigan and Dagda were in the River Eunice, and Morrigan straddled the river and had sex with the Dagda, and every Samhain Eve they meet and do it again. And many people bring this into their Samhain ritual, and some people use it even in sex magic on the 31st of October. And Morrigan is celebrated on as a dark goddess as well, because obviously we're going into winter, we're going into the darker nights and cold times. The dark goddess comes in, it's the crone aspect, and the same with the gods as well. Kaylee, Hecate, the Morrigan, we've got Diana, we've got there's probably loads more. Baba Yaga for me, I associate Baba Yaga as a goddess. Hel, the Norse goddess Hel, these are all goddesses that you could work with, you know, in the season, in this time of Samhain, you know, around the 31st of October. So of course they say that the vow is the thinnest leading up to the 31st and slightly after. And this is a time for divination. Sorry, I've got a text. Divination, we're working with like mediums and spirits. This is a perfect time for anything like that, for tarot. It's just, yeah, it's just an amazing time for connection. Whether you're working with spirit guides, you're working with the goddess and god, you're working with past loved ones, you know, it's a superb time to be connecting. And for new witches as well, this is a time to, you know, if you're new to witchcraft and you're just sort of stepping out on the path and you want to kind of, you know, try some of the divination tools and have a go now, because it's such a potent time. A lot of people work with the fairy folk at this time as well. They work with the fae, with the she. I'm not going to go into fairy. I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert in anything, but I'm not an expert on fairy, working with the fairy folk and the fae anyway. So that's a whole other video, but I'm not really. I do, but not in a massive way. There's some amazing people out there who are really involved in fairy magic and things like that. But it's that time again. So Samhain is the most important of the 4 fire festivals, of the Celtic fire festivals. You know, we're going back to what I was saying in my previous video regarding the Halloween folklore, where the trick-or-treating and all that comes from. We're going back to old Ireland and Scotland and England. We're going back to those times where the kids would be dressed up in sacks to make look as hideous as possible, so that the demon phantom queen coming out of the cave, which of course was Morrigan, wouldn't rustle them off and take them, because she would think that, you know, it was just crazy. Then there's a lot of Christian aspects in things as well. So where the trick-or-treating has kind of come from all the way back, it started off, kids would go round holding their turnip with a little candle in it. It wasn't a jack-o'-lantern. They didn't have pumpkins. You didn't have money to throw. They didn't have money. They were poor people, and you wouldn't have wasted a pumpkin. I don't even know if there was pumpkins growing then, but you would have had a turnip hollowed out. This was probably just for a light. It was just so they could see where they were going and something to put the candle in, you know. So this is where it's all kind of come from. They would knock doors and they would recite a little poem, and there was cakes in return, and whether there was sweets I'm not sure, but things in return, and they would sing. And then obviously when the Christian aspect came in, it changed again, and yeah, it just goes on. And then obviously as immigrants went out to America, they took these traditions with them, and that's where, you know, Halloween comes from. It isn't actually from America. Obviously they had their input, and they have got, you know, amazing celebrations they have, and stores with all the good stuff in and all that. But this really does come from Ireland, England, Scotland. It's the Celts, it's Gaelic. This is where Samhain started, and you know, it kind of ended with Halloween. So it's obviously the witch's new year, so it's a perfect time to out with the old and in with the new. Okay, so this is a perfect time for getting rid of unwanted habits, for cleansing altars, making new altars, creating sacred space, protecting the house, protecting things around you, sorting yourself out and doing protection, starting like new ideas for business, because it's out with the old and in with the new. We're done with the autumn, we're going into winter, it's completely new, and that's why it is the witch's new year. So we can practice all kinds of things to do with renewal, with rebirth. We can I'm just reading through my notes here because I have slightly gone off. We can do house cleansings. We can do lots of spell work for ourselves, improving ourselves in all different ways. You know, anything that needs a really good oomph, you know, like we do with the graveyard dirt. We're sticking that graveyard dirt in to give something an oomph. This is the time to do it. The vow is thin. We can contact spirit, contact deity, contact ancestors, get their help, you know. I go to my mum's on Samhain, and I go quite early. She lives in the middle of the forest, so her neighbours can't see us, and we go outside if it's not torrential rain. If not, we do have to go inside, which is fine. But we go under her oak tree. It's about 600 years old, and we go under the oak tree, and we have a table, and we get an altar set up. We have photos of all the pets who have passed, all our doggies, and we have photos of our relatives who have passed, and some people that we know have passed. We just mention their names if we haven't got a photo, and we basically we do a whole Morrigan ritual, and some of that ritual actually comes from Stephanie Woodfield's Dark Goddess book, and I'll perhaps try and put a link if I can do that. I'm not very technical. Put a link below in case you've never read this book, but it is amazing if you wish to work with Morrigan and her aspects of herself, her being. With all her aspects of Morrigan, it's absolutely fantastic, and we work with some of that, and we always do that for Samhain. We do the Morrigan and the Dagda as well, and then we do our ancestry bit, and usually I get it all wrong and knock something over. I got wedged between something last time and couldn't get around the table. You know, it's enjoyable and we have a really good time. So I'm looking forward to going to my mum's to do that. And then when we've done that, I come back home and I usually do a little bit of saying indoors, and then we watch horror films and do Halloween. So that's what we do. You know, I'm sure witches all over the world have lots of things that they like to do themselves. We do tend to do the same thing, but you know, we enjoy doing that. So it's yeah, it's really exciting. Lots of different crystals you can use for Morrigan. Of course, labradorite. She likes bloodstone, labradorite. She likes amethyst. She likes quartz. We always burn dragon's blood because she really likes that. Used to burn Shalimar, but we don't have any, so we've got pagan spell, which is just as good as Shalimar. So we've got incense we can burn for her, black and red candles for her and Dagda on Samhain. I usually lay my table out with skulls, and I'll have the pumpkin that I've carved, which does look a little bit wonky because I'm looking at it now and I'm thinking, bless you. I went a bit wonky on its mouth. Yeah, with lots of candles. We have her statues. I have crow feathers. Yeah, so that's all over my dining room table. Not a big house for me, so you have to make room where you can. We have always have something set up for the elements to celebrate. You know, to bring in the table, if you will, when you first start. I usually work my circle around the table. I haven't got room to be walking around it, so it's kind of all done from the chair. When we're at my mum's, we can walk around. She has a big outside table and we can walk around that. It's great. Yeah, we do a little bit of everything. So really it's up to you as an individual how you wish to, you know, how you wish to do your rituals and celebrate the Sabbath, Samhain. But there's so many things that that people, you know, obviously witches' covens get together, which I can imagine would be amazing. I'm not in a coven, so and they do, you know, their ways and their rituals. There's so many things you can do. You could make house protection jars. You know, it's also full moon. It's a blue moon, which is going to be kind of exciting, but I think I'm going to do my one the next day or the day, but you know, I'm going to do it separate. Can't do all that on the same night, it'll be too much. No way. But that's what we've got this year, so it's really exciting that we've got that. Let's hope the wind and the rain isn't too bad. It's given out really bad in the UK this weekend, so candles are going to be blowing out and all sorts. But yeah, it's a really exciting time. Tarot, divinate, like, you know, like your divination, your pendulum work. There are other goddesses and gods at Samhain you can work with. I always work with Anubis when I'm doing anything Egyptian, but I do also honour Anubis as a dark god on Samhain. I have actually got somewhere on this list here, there is a list, yes, of goddesses and gods, and I know I will have forgotten some of them. I have already said some, but Hades, Persephone, Pluto, Hecate, Cronus, Baba Yaga, Canunos, Diana, the Morrigan and the Dagda, Kalima, and Hel, Kali, and Hel obviously of Norse mythology. You could any dark goddesses and gods, any the crone, obviously, the crone aspect of the goddess for us all. Obviously the crone for Morrigan is Bathe. It's spelt Babbed, but it's pronounced Bathe, and she is the crone aspect of the Morrigan. We also have on the table, which is set up, I have a little crone statue, which is kind of based around her, and I also have chicken bones and a little house and a bottle of vodka for Baba Yaga, which I also like to incorporate as well, because Baba Yaga to me is a goddess. She is a goddess, not just a witch or a kind of mythological witch. She is a goddess to me, and she's always included. And yeah, I'm going to definitely be doing some spells myself and some spells for the world. Let's sort out this situation with the virus and all that. Apologies, my husband's sawing. And try and get everything back how it was, or you know, maybe not how it was, but you know, get it sorted, because it's not good. There's so many things you can do. Just remember, it's new beginnings, it's New Year's Eve, new beginnings, so that's all things that we can do. We've also got full moon, which was just going to blow us away with the power. If we can get the moon, we've got the moon involved and all the moon's energy. This is going to be absolutely fantastic. I'm really excited, really looking forward to it. Let me know what you're doing to celebrate, and if there's anything that you enjoy and you do. Obviously not everybody is going to be doing the same thing. Of course, everybody's got their own ways that they work, and there's so many things now. There's so many different forms of witchcraft and so many different types. It's quite exciting, you know. I mean, these are just a few ideas that I thought I'd throw out there. I'm just making sure that I didn't forget anything, basically. Oh, I tell you what I did find. This is quite interesting. When the Christian aspect, when the Christian influence, came in and basically wanted rid of Samhain, because they wanted rid of anything pagan, but it was really strong and they couldn't stop them. They couldn't stop them doing it, so they tried to change it to the 13th of May, and this was for All Saints Day, and they wanted to try and change it to the 13th of May, but because it was such a strong 31st of October was so strong, there were so many pagans. This is in Ireland. And surrounding areas celebrating, and the fire festivals continued and people would not stop. Pope Gregory declared to make Saints and Martyrs Day on November the 1st to displace pagan rituals, and that is where All Saints Day and All Souls Day and All Saints Day come from, 31st of October and 1st of November, because they were trying to get rid of Samhain on the 31st of October. Obviously they didn't do a very good bloody job, did they? Because we're all still celebrating it, and it is a shame that there's so much information lost. I would love to know everything they did back in them days, but because it wasn't written down, people couldn't read or write, and sadly things weren't really recorded until the monks and people of nobility could write, and sadly they wouldn't have wrote anything for the pagan people because it was frowned upon and the Christian influence had come in. And it's really sad that so much of our history, our ancestors' history, is lost because people wouldn't, you know, people wanted something else. But it doesn't stop us. And on Saturday, on the 31st, we will be still celebrating it. We'll have fires and there'll be celebrations. There's so much food you can make. I mean, the apple bobbing goes way back for bobbing for apples. You know, it's so many things, you know, and obviously we're so lucky now that we're all able to, you know, eat and drink when we like and have, you know, have big feasts without having to, you know, starve for X amount of weeks to have that, because, you know, we're just so lucky now. I don't think we realise how lucky we are, really, that we can just pop to the shop and purchase whatever we want, and, you know, we can celebrate like this. So I think we need to think about that as well, how lucky we all are. Yeah, there's going to be sweets, and I should probably gain a stone And then in the evening, when we've done all our little ritual things and bits and pieces, me and my husband are going to get a couple of beers, eat some sweets, and watch the horror films that I just bought, because that's what we do with all the candles and all the pumpkins lit and everything. It'll be like lit up in here like Blackpool. But yeah, that's what it's, you know, that's what it's about in my family. And yeah, if you've got any ideas and you want to share them, please pop them below. I like to read people's comments. I will apologise, it's not my fault, but people keep posting porn on my bottoms of my videos. So whatever you do, don't click them. They don't go. You can't get rid of them. And I don't know if there's some sort of hack, or just trying to, you know, sell the sites that they're promoting. But yeah, I really wish. I keep threatening the people. I'm gonna hex you. Yeah, let's hope we don't have any on today's. But I seem to be like a porn magnet for these videos, so I apologise if you've seen them. Some of them have got quite filthy names. I mean, I did chuckle the first time, but my mum watches my videos and she pressed one of them and it wouldn't leave her laptop, and it's not funny, you know. But I did say to her, don't press buttons, mum, that you don't know what they do. So yeah, please be aware, don't press none of them. If they have a funny word on them, you'll know what they are anyway. Pretty obvious. So I really hope you like this little ramble about Samhain and Halloween and all of that good stuff. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel. Pass me around to anyone that you think, you know. I'm on Instagram. Details are below. Pass us about if you think any of your friends or relatives might be interested in the channel. I hope you have an amazing Samhain, an amazing Halloween. Keep it creepy. I'll see you real soon. Take care of yourselves. Ta-da.